Pierre, well, the fact remains that if somebody asks for a division of votes, the speaker has to consider that as well. That is not something that is ruled out. But in the morning, looking at the situation in the House and looking at the fact that the remaining Seemandra MPs, remember, out of 25, 16 were suspended, so the rest still remain in the House, and they had been creating a noise in the morning. So to control the situation and to hastily pass the bill, since broadly most of the parties, except of course the Samajwadi Party, which had very clearly articulated that they do not support smaller states, that they do not support a Telangana bill. Apart from that, more or less, since everybody was on board, the government thought that it was fit to use voice vote to pass the bill. But of course, that is also a privilege of the members, that if they feel that there needs to be a division of votes, they can always ask the speaker for that. And then, of course, the speaker has to take a call on whether there should be a division of votes.
All right. I just want to sum up what we know so far for viewers. Stay with us. We now know that the Lok Sabha has, proceedings in Lok Sabha have been blacked out on the Speaker's orders after MPs from Seemandra attempted to break into the House. Remember, those MPs had been suspended by the Speaker last week for unruly behaviour, including a pepper spray attack on colleagues in the Lok Sabha. We also know that voting is currently underway on as many as 70 amendments to the Telangana bill, many of them, up to half, being proposed by the BJP. Some of these include a special package for the Seemandra region, for instance. There are also packages being discussed on new educational institutions and the sharing of river waters in the state. However, you cannot see any of this. You cannot see any of this because proceedings in Lok Sabha have been blacked out. This is unprecedented. The Telangana bill, one of the most controversial bills in Indian parliamentary history, certainly the most controversial bill in the 15th Lok Sabha, is being discussed, being debated, being voted on in darkness. Maha Siddiqui is still with us, reporting from Parliament. Maha, take viewers back to the moment that forced the Speaker to decide to black out this telecast.
Well, Pierre, let me bring a very interesting point to you just now. This one of the suspended MPs, he came out and he said it's a dark day for democracy because they feel they also should have been part of the proceedings today. After all, they had grievances and they should have been heard. So, yes, there is at this point in time a lot of angst as far as the Seemandra side is concerned. They feel that they have not been fairly dealt with and that a huge chunk of the revenue will go to the Telangana side because after all, Hyderabad contributes 44% of the revenue. It's the cash cow really which is going to Telangana. That was one of their major grievances. But apart from that fact, the other fact also remains that many people have their business interests. They live in the Telangana side whereas they belong to Seemandra. That is also a major cause of concern because of the kind of information that is coming out from Andhra Pradesh, that people from either regions have turned hostile towards each other. That aspect was, of course, made amply clear by the Home Ministry this morning, saying that they are keeping a very close vigil over the situation in Andhra Pradesh and they are ensuring that there is no breakout of violence once the Telangana bill is passed. Yes, of course, at this point in time in the Lok Sabha, the proceedings are on at the moment. We know that by clause voting has started inside the House. The proceedings have, of course, are not being telecast because the Speaker feared ugly scenes could repeat themselves in the House, that the suspended Seemandra MPs who were waiting by outside the gate, who were not allowed to enter the main Lok Sabha premises, they were standing in the lobby and trying to get inside, and perhaps she feared that there could be a repeat of ugly scenes because of which the proceedings were blacked out.
Ma, thank you very much for those updates from inside Parliament. Mahrukh Inayat has been covering events from just outside Parliament. She joins us live from Vijay Chowk. Mahrukh, I'm wondering if people around you, particularly those protesters, have heard of what's happened in Parliament. We're hearing that there's been a complete blackout of proceedings in the Lok Sabha while votes on the amendments are underway.
Well, Pierre, right where I'm standing, there's such unprecedented security that there's no chance of any protesters making their way here, and that is one of the things that the government has been looking at extremely closely. But just to get you a sense of what has happened inside, what Maha was telling us, right now it is almost impossible to know what is happening inside the Lok Sabha, because essentially, as the Lok Sabha TV has been switched off, unprecedented really in the annals of Parliament. Maybe there are some examples of this having happened in the past, but in recent history, one can't remember of such a thing happening. And just to give a quick recap, this is happening essentially because over the past two and a half hours, in fact, these indications were coming in right from the morning that the UPA has been able to develop a sort of a consensus. And we saw a meeting between Jayapal Reddy and senior leaders of the BJP, where that assurance was given that the BJP was committed to the Telangana bill. And clearly, when it came to 3 p.m. and the Lok Sabha reconvened after the adjournment, it was the opposition. It was essentially TMC, Trinamool Congress, it was CPIM who rushed to the well of the house, saying that this is a fixed match between the Congress and the BJP, because before that Sushma Swaraj had spoken and very clearly said that they are committed to the idea of Telangana. So it seems several questions will be asked. First, why this Lok Sabha TV was switched off? What does it mean for the politics of Andhra Pradesh that the stakeholders, the people who really should be having ideally a say, which are the members of parliament from Simandra, were never present, because even as we speak, clause by clause, voting is happening inside. And with the BJP and the Congress both on the same page, finally, the Telangana bill is likely to be passed in some time from now, at least in the lower house, and likely to happen in the upper house tomorrow is what the indication is coming. But by the nature of the turn of events as they have happened, dramatic inside Parliament, not as dramatic or hardly dramatic, if I would say, outside Parliament, clearly a lot of questions will be asked. Pierre?
Maruk, at this stage, it appears that the Speaker stopped the broadcast because of security concerns, those MPs trying to break into the House to disrupt proceedings. But there's also word that if the ruckus continues, this bill may pass by a voice vote.
Well, see, those security concerns is what many political analysts and experts are saying primarily was because the larger audience, or perhaps the speaker in her better sense felt that the larger audience should not be seeing what is happening inside Parliament. But this clearly remains that with the stakeholders not being allowed inside Parliament, what is the relevance of this bill? One. Secondly, was this about posturing as far as the BJP is concerned all along, where they were trying to say that we want the amendments, and at the end of the day they were willing to go ahead with it. For the Congress party, what does it mean when members from its own party, union ministers who were clearly against the idea of Telangana, were going against the party voice? So all these questions do remain. For a certain section within Andhra Pradesh, those who believe in the idea of Telangana, those who have been fighting for it since the 50s, clearly this would be the realization of a dream. But having said that, this is going to change the entire parameters and politics of Andhra Pradesh, and the manner in which it has been done raises more than a few questions, Pierre.
It certainly does. It certainly does. And certainly when you're talking about the 29th state, or potentially the 29th state of the Union, we have a complete blackout on the process of actually creating that state, at least as far as the Lok Sabha vote is concerned. We don't know what proceedings will be like in the Rajya Sabha, but we have reactions coming in now to this blackout. Listen in.
More than 50% of the house is in the well. If they want to follow the process, they should. The other day, why they have suspended 14 members? They should have suspended all the entire, almost 100 people. The members who belongs to that area, they are suspended. If this process and if this culture, if we start in democracy, whatever bill they want, they will pass like this. This is what they are going to do. No. Voice vote में खत्म करने का है.
So you heard one of the MPs over there saying nearly 50% of the MPs are currently in the well of the House. Of course, there's no way to verify any of these claims. Lok Sabha has simply been blacked out. There's simply no information coming in from where exactly that discussion stands. All we can tell you for the moment is that there are votes. Voting is now underway on the various amendments to the Andhra Pradesh reorganization bill, but simply no information other than that. Mark, I want to come back to you on that statement from... I can break this news now. The bill for the reorganization of Andhra Pradesh has been passed by a voice vote in Lok Sabha. This news breaking in the past few seconds. Maharuk Inayat standing by outside Parliament. Maharuk, a bill to create the 29th state of the Union passed by a voice vote under a complete blackout.
Clearly, Pierre, a lot of questions are being asked. A lot of questions asked in the manner in which the final voting happened. A lot of questions like we've been telling our viewers about why the main stakeholders of the state of Andhra Pradesh were not allowed inside the House when this voting was happening. Yes, as far as the Speaker is concerned and the House, they will say that they were causing disruptions, but they definitely had a voice as far as this entire bifurcation of the state of Andhra Pradesh is concerned. Just for our viewers, to recap what has been happening since morning, we've seen parleys, we've seen political posturing, and we've also seen hectic negotiations. From the Congress side, Sushil Kumar Shinde and Jaipal Reddy were the two main negotiators, if you want to call them for lack of a better word, who were talking to senior leaders of the BJP, from LK Advani to Sushma Swaraj to Arun Jaitley. This has been happening over the past 48 hours, clearly wanting to build that consensus. The BJP, on their hand, have been maintaining throughout that yes, we believe in the idea of smaller states, yes, we believe in the idea of Telangana, but the stakeholders, especially LK Advani earlier today also speaking to Javed Ansari, said we want those suspended MPs to be present in Parliament when the voting takes place on this crucial bill. Not just that, we also want them at the same time, what LK Advani had reiterated at that point was that there shouldn't be any din in Parliament. So clearly what the BJP was trying to do was, on the one hand, demanding that extra package be spelt out for Simandra, showing that even as a political party, while they are for the idea of Telangana, they're not really relegating Simandra to what is being seen by many as on the sidelines. That's one part of the argument. The second is what we are seeing in Hyderabad happen as of now. On the one hand, you have the KCR representing the TRS, which has been fighting for the idea of Telangana, already putting up posters across Hyderabad, as T.S. Sudhir was telling us. What does that indicate? A, that they knew this consensus would be built, they had been given assurance, and also that politically in the days to come ahead of 2014 will also show how the TRS and the Congress are really placed. Is it going to be a post-poll alliance? How is the TRS going to use this entire formation of the state of Telangana? Secondly, for Simandra and for Jagan Mohan Reddy and Chandrababu Naidu, where does the political road go on from here? Those are the other two protagonists. Jagan Mohan Reddy has said that he is completely against the bifurcation and stands for United Telangana.